Leave everything and get out of this house. I'm taking it, furniture and all. I couldn't believe my ears when I heard this from my sister-in-law. Ever since my husband, Noah, passed away, she's been doing whatever she pleases. Even when I remind her that this was mine and Noah's home, she doesn't care. I felt that even if I resisted, nothing would change. So, I decided to leave everything behind, just as she wanted. Fine, I'll leave. My name is Isabella. Noah was a young CEO who took over his father's company. It's a major corporation that everyone knows, with a vast number of employees. I became his secretary right when he became CEO, and we got to know each other closely. During tough times, we supported each other, and as days went by, we fell in love and started dating. Everyone at the company knew about our relationship, and since we were both successful, we were admired. 2 years later, we got married. When he proposed, it was the happiest moment of my life, and our relationship remained strong after marriage. Later, I quit my job as a secretary to support Noah full-time at home. We've been married for almost 10 years now. We're planning a trip for our upcoming anniversary. Every day with Noah is a joy. However, there was one problem. I have an older brother named Liam. Our dad works as a driver and our mom is too frail to work. After high school, Liam got a job without going to college and moved out. I went to college with money I saved from part-time jobs, and later got a job as a secretary at Noah's company. The pay was great, and I mostly saved or sent money home. Liam, knowing this, often asked me for money. Some of the money I sent to our parents also ended up with him. Liam had a temper, and to avoid confrontations, I never said anything. I wished my parents wouldn't give him money, but they probably found it easier to appease him. Growing up, Liam often took things from me. Now, he works a blue-collar job, and, according to our parents, is heavily into gambling. From horse racing to slot machines and lotteries, he seems to be into everything. Despite having such a troublesome brother, I still gave him money after getting married. Sometimes he even asked Noah for money, which I really wished he'd stop. Every day, I was frustrated with Liam, but his wife Harper was even more of a headache. Given Noah's position, we lived in a luxury, high-rise apartment furnished with high-end items for when company associates visited. We bought the apartment thinking of our future children. I had difficulty conceiving, but after 2 years of preconception care, I finally became pregnant. Because of my frequent hospital visits, I'm often away from home, but Harper would still be at our place. It would be okay if she visited, but she'd have a mess and treated me like a servant. Isabella, I'm hungry. Get me something. I'm leaving for the hospital soon. Then order delivery. Harper never lifts a finger or offers to pay when she's at our place. I have to do it all. When I talked to Liam about it, he didn't help much. Just listen to my wife. You have plenty of money. No matter how much we earn, this is a separate issue. I've confronted Harper, but she'd just say, "You're annoying. Take money from me and go gambling with it." It's been a year since Liam married her. For over 6 months, I've been feeling overwhelmed by their behavior. I've talked to Noah about it, and he's apparently discussed it with my parents, but I assume there's been no progress since they won't listen. Every day I thought about how I needed to resolve this before our baby arrives. Sure, everyone dreams of a luxurious life, but no matter how much money you have, you shouldn't misuse it. I wished every day that they'd at least stop gambling with other people's money. The daily stress, combined with pregnancy, made my morning sickness severe. Because of this, I sometimes escaped home to help with Noah's company work. I could only do seated tasks like paperwork, but it eased my mind. I never imagined that things with Harper and Liam would get worse. On our anniversary, Noah and I had plans to dine at a fancy restaurant with a city view. I prepared early. From tomorrow, we planned a 3-day, 2-night stay at a distant luxury hotel. I was excited, even buying new clothes and getting my hair done. I wanted to always be the wife Noah found beautiful, even at 35. As usual, Harper tagged along, getting pampered on my dime, but I didn't mind. I checked our preparations for tomorrow, ensuring we didn't forget anything. Though it was a lot to manage, I was excited about the hotel. Time passed, but Noah didn't return, and there was no message. Maybe he's held up at work. I waited for his call, but nothing came. Just as I was about to call his office, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. Answering, I heard, "Is this Mrs. Noah? Please come to the hospital immediately." The call was from a hospital. If they mentioned Noah's name, something must have happened to him. I quickly grabbed essentials, hailed a taxi, and rushed to the hospital. I was led to the surgery waiting area. When I arrived, the nurse called me into the examination room, and I listened to the story. The doctor explained that Noah had been in a collision with a car that ran a red light. He was critically injured and undergoing surgery. They told me to brace myself as he might not make it. I was in shock and couldn't process the news. After hearing about the accident, I was in a panic and barely remember what followed. I prayed desperately outside the operating room. "Noah, please stay alive, please." 4 hours later, the surgery door opened and the doctor emerged. "We did our best. I'm so sorry." Noah didn't make it. I cried uncontrollably, my sobs echoing in the dim hospital corridor. Memories with Noah flooded my mind, and though a nurse tried to comfort me, I barely noticed. Soon after, my mother-in-law arrived, crying in my father-in-law's arms. Then, a male doctor approached with a bouquet. "Are you his wife? Mr. Noah wanted you to have these when he was brought in." Apparently, Noah was conscious when the ambulance arrived and asked them to bring the flowers from his car. He insisted they be given to his wife before losing consciousness. The bouquet, slightly damaged from the crash, was still a beautiful bunch of roses. Tucked within was a note. "Isabella, thank you for being by my side for 10 years. I'm always grateful. Please take care from now on." Reading the letter, I hugged it close and I cried even more. That night, my mother-in-law stayed by my side, but my heart was still shattered. The first night without Noah was unbearable, and I couldn't sleep a wink. The next morning, I felt no better, but my mother-in-law reminded me of my pregnancy. So I tried to rest a bit. When I woke up, I felt a kick from the baby inside me, bringing me back to reality. This child is mine and Noah's, and it's about to be born. It's as if the baby kicked to tell me to pull myself together. So I whispered a promise to Noah that I'd protect our child and live strongly. I washed my face with cold water and tried to fix my tear-streaked face. A few days later, after discussions with the family, we held Noah's funeral. Many attended, including family, colleagues, and business partners. But amidst the mourners, one person stood out. Why should I wear mourning attire? It's so outdated. Harper was dressed in a flashy party dress, completely out of place. Many looked at her with disdain, but she seemed unfazed. She even started flirting with some of the business executives. It was clear she was after their money. After the funeral, my mother-in-law called a family meeting about Noah's life insurance. She believed I should receive everything, but some family members thought it should be shared. Harper and Liam joined the discussion. Shouldn't the insurance money go to Liam, the eldest sibling? Harper's argument seemed driven by her own desire to get a share. She even said, Isabella probably has enough savings. She doesn't need it. I sighed at Harper's audacity and confronted her about her inappropriate attire. No matter the reason, you two won't see a dime of that insurance money. And your attire? Hardly fitting for a funeral. As I spoke up, the surrounding family members shot icy glares at Harper. Feeling the tension, Liam and Harper quickly left the scene. For Harper, this was the first time meeting many of the relatives. But her first impression? Absolutely terrible. What's the big deal? Harper, clearly irritated, stormed out with a flushed face. Seeing her like that, I felt a bit of satisfaction. Always being taken advantage of, today felt like a small win. I hoped she'd realize she can't always have her way. But that hope was short-lived. The matter of Noah's insurance would be discussed later, and days went by. After the confrontation at the funeral, Harper disappeared. She was probably gambling away, angry at me. A week passed without seeing Harper, and it felt like a peaceful break. One day, I had to visit my mother-in-law's house. After finishing my errands, I decided to shop before heading home, but as I approached my house, I noticed the lights were on. Thinking it might be a burglar, my palms got sweaty. I tried to stay calm, turned on my phone's recorder, and attempted to unlock the door, but the key wouldn't fit. After multiple attempts, I rang the doorbell. Harper's voice responded. "What are you doing? Open up!" She opened the door. Glaring at me in her casual clothes, she had changed the locks while I was at my mother-in-law's house. It seems that she waited for me to leave and changed it during that time. Then she said something shocking. "I'm taking this house with everything in it. Leave everything and go." I couldn't believe my ears. However, the words that come back are exactly the same as what I heard. "This is Noah's and my house. You should leave. You don't have a husband anymore. The house is too big for you. I'm doing you a favor." I remembered I was recording the conversation. If I continue to resist, I will be weaker and lose. I decided to back down for now and use the recording later. "Fine," I said, and left. I called my mother-in-law, who kindly took me in. I told her everything and played the recording. "This is just like theft," she said, "and I could possibly get compensation for the emotional distress." She advised contacting the police and a lawyer. The next day, I did just that. The lawyer confirmed it was a case of theft and that I could get compensation. I updated my mother-in-law on everything. My parents knew about the situation, but seemed to have given up on Liam. The audacity of trying to take a home from a pregnant woman is beyond belief. I wrapped my arms around my mother-in-law, who was embracing me. holding her tightly. After a moment, she pulled away, looking deeply into my eyes. Speaking of the insurance money, I really wanted you to have it, Isabella. Noah wanted that too. With that, she handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter. A quick glance, and I recognized Noah's handwriting, tears forming in my eyes. The letter was his will, written in case anything ever happened to him. Given his position as a CEO, he probably wrote it knowing the unpredictability of life. The message was clear. All the insurance money and his savings should go to me and our unborn child. Regarding the company, he mentioned that I might need to work if he wasn't around. He hoped I'd take over the business and become the CEO. But with a child on the way, he also suggested I could take a break and trust the company to a reliable employee. I wasn't immediately sure about taking over the company, but having observed Noah's work closely, I felt it was possible. Reading the letter, I felt Noah's presence more than ever and cried for a while. Once I composed myself, I told mother-in-law I agreed about the insurance money, but needed time to think about the company. She offered to let me stay with her for a while, and I gratefully accepted, heading to bed and falling asleep quickly. The next day, following mother-in-law's advice, I contacted a lawyer, visited a law firm, and then the police station. I had done some online research, and as expected, it was treated as theft. The lawyer assured me he would claim compensation. I finished all the procedures that day and shared everything with mother-in-law. She had already informed other family members about the recent events. I also spoke to my parents, but they seemed resigned, saying they didn't want anything to do with Liam anymore. I didn't want to see such parents anymore, so I just waited for the police to contact me. A few days later, I received a call from the police. "We're headed to your previous residence now. Is that okay?" I quickly agreed and followed them to Harper's place. I waited in a parked police car nearby. The police rang the doorbell and knocked. Upon seeing the police, Harper's face turned pale. "Sorry, ma'am, we're with the police. You're under arrest for theft." But wait, Harper, usually defiant, was speechless and visibly shaken. Liam was also arrested as an accomplice. I had never seen him so terrified. Seeing their reactions gave me a sense of relief. Later, the police and lawyer updated me, and I was able to return home. Apparently, Liam and Harper were evicted from the rented apartment due to unpaid bills, which led them to forcibly take my house. Regardless of their reasons, they should have known better. They didn't seem to understand that what they did was wrong. Hopefully, this arrest will be a wake-up call for them. Of course, they now owe me compensation. I hope they accept this as atonement. Finally, back in my high-rise apartment, I called mother-in-law. "Hello, mother-in-law. I've decided to take over Noah's company. It's his legacy." "That's wonderful. Noah must be smiling down on us from heaven." I was determined to continue the legacy Noah had built as a CEO. It felt like the right thing to do for him. With a renewed sense of purpose, I realized I had forgotten something. I approached a photo of Noah and whispered, "I'm home," with a smile.